another day here on the Her Hip Stats podcast. It is Wednesday, June 4th. It is morning when we are recording. I like to give context because sometimes news comes out after.
Yeah, that's fair.
When I recorded with Richard the other day, literally later, like an hour or two later, after we had talked a little bit about Seven and the Mercury, then they waived her. And so
exactly.
Like, okay,
we're in the morning.
We're on top of it. Just, it hasn't happened yet.
Mm-hmm.
The way time works is...
Yeah. And if you're watching, and Jamie and I are both just kind of like morning, which I love. Drinking my coffee, we're good. It's going to hit soon.
I realize that I have this habit that, well, hold on. First, I'm Jamie Steyer Johnson. I'm with Chelsea Leite. It's the two of us back together again. I realize I have
chaos.
Where, like, I intro an episode and then I ask a first question or I start a first topic and I immediately take a drink of whatever I'm drinking, and it's always something different. So it's like, those keeping track at home. That's why we need like a beverage sponsor. Like,
honestly, you and I.
Or
especially when you and I are, oh my God, that time you almost died.
Yeah.
TBT.
It happens.
I'm not going to make Brian edit so much, but like if there was a time to do a cutback, it would be now. Just like go back to when you
throw back to Jamie's near-death experience.
Exactly. Oh man, I always have a drink too. Today's coffee. It's usually coffee when we're recording, but yeah, I mean, people are just getting the press break reunions this week. I was with Tyler yesterday. I'm with you today. We were talking about.
You had FOMO when Tyler and I recorded together.
I did have FOMO. I miss y'all. So,
and now we're reunited.
Fun. I know, and it's funny because it's like there's the vibe when it's the three of us, and then like I find when each of us are in pairs as well, like there's also a different vibe. So it's just gonna be like, I love it. It's gonna be chaos.
And
I love it.
Like Brian is such a great hype man because we've got our scrolling banner here telling everyone to send your sponsorship opportunities to us.
Honestly, Courtney Williams said it best. I want my coin. Give me that money.
Okay. Speaking of, let's start there because I'm scrolling Instagram the other day and I see this little like carousel of pictures and it's all Courtney Williams and Atisha Heidemann. And the account it's from is called Stud Buds. And I'm dying. I'm like, stop. And I thought that this was like a fan post. I go to the account and it's those two streaming it. Yeah. I'm like, stop. You have got to be kidding. I told my husband, I'm like, have you seen this? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, first of all.
He's like, I tune in every day.
Make sure that, all about it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But like, I'm like, how would you not make sure that I had seen this? Because this is incredible. The vibes are crazy.
This is our official petition to Courtney and Natisha to get Jamie and I on the stream. So we can all just vibe and have a good time. Bring Bridget there. It'll be a good time.
That's what I'm saying. I'm about to text Bridget after this episode, like, hey, just so you know.
I mean, if you guys are new listeners, you don't know, Jamie and Bridget go way back, Iowa State, and Bridget's also Canadian, so I've met her a few times, but
everywhere.
Yeah. So
you hit 1,000 career points last night.
Yes. Oh my goodness! Congratulations, Bridget Carlton, Canadian.
We love you.
Shout out BC. Go State. Go Canada.
Legend, Iowa State legend.
Yeah.
But, okay, so Stud Buds killed me. Obsessed.
Yeah.
Love it. Courtney Williams is on her podcast grind. Like,
which we love.
She's got Courtney and her daddy. She's got Stud Buds. All the Courtney content. I'm here for it. But the other half of that equation, Natisha Heidemann, last night went off, okay? Early in the game, I tweeted, I'm like, someone just tell Natisha that they're playing Phoenix before every game. Because obviously had that incredible game winner not even a week ago. And then last night just absolutely pops off, like had such a terrific game, especially early on. Like, just, oh my gosh, she did so much for Minnesota in a game where, I mean, Alyssa Thomas still out for the Mercury, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
definitely some struggles there. They've signed a
Yeah.
couple of short-term contracts, have Haley Jones, and then they did add Megan McConnell, who ended up leaving the game at the very end,
That
hurt.
was
And
so
so
sad.
I'm like so hoping, praying that that is not as serious as it looked. But obviously a really heartbreaking situation there. But Natisha Heidemann, okay, like she
Do you
has
want to hear the best
been
part about that?
on it. Yeah.
Well, like the best part from my perspective, she's on my fantasy team. Let's go.
I love that. Great pickup. Great pickup.
Thank you
She's
so
been on
much.
to like such a good start this year. Like she took a little bit of time, I feel like, to get settled in with Minnesota last year, and then was an important piece down the stretch, especially. But this year, she just like, I feel like she knows what her role is, and she's so comfortable. And I know Cheryl has talked about like, yeah, it's been really important for us to get Natisha going and get her involved. And definitely last night was kind of the culmination of all of that. When you get 18 points, you go 7 of 10 from the floor. Like it's hard to have a much better game than she did last night.
Yeah, and I mean 24 fantasy points for me. So shout out Natisha. But no, it's like, yeah, clutch. And I mean, it's so nice to see, like, obviously you have these players that have kind of gone around to different teams, and I mean that's just like the reality of the WNBA. But like, especially on a team where, and these players that aren't necessarily like the Nafisas, the Asias, the Stewies, and but like they're still so important to the like success of a team, especially a team like Minnesota that is hoping to win a championship this year. You need those depth players, and you need them to be like on, and you need, like, they're important no matter how many minutes they play in a game. So it's nice to see like her, Carly Samuelson, like those little pieces for Minnesota that come in and just like make such a difference. It's honestly like the difference between teams that are in that like second middle tier and teams that are championship contenders, because we talk about, I mean, our whole episode yesterday was about the New York Liberty and how great they are, but like the same thing with Minnesota. They have so much depth, and it's so nice to see that coming together and being able to like win them game. Like that win yesterday, if you didn't watch, it was like the first half was pretty close. Phoenix got ahead up early, and then Minnesota kind of came back and evened it out before the half, and then they just like absolutely blew them out in the second half, which has kind of been the pattern for Minnesota this season. Kind of having a slow first half, and then whatever Cheryl says in the halftime, locker room, which, I mean, I would love to be on a fly on the wall for that, but
I don't want to be there. I'm scared.
You're like, no, keep me out of that. But yeah, then they just come out in the second half and are absolutely like just dominate. So they got ahead, and it ended up being a blowout. So, and I mean, and then in those moments, then players like Natisha Heidemann and others can have more time and more freedom to kind of do whatever they want, or just kind of play more freely, I guess would be the better way to say that. But
like the broadcast pointed out that if you split games into like first half and second half, Minnesota is 9th in the league in defense in the first half, and they are like by far first in the league in defense in the second half. Like it's just like the switch just flips. It part of it too does kind of feel like they settle in and they see what the other team is doing, and so what they do so well is adjust. And so I think that's very positive that they're able to do that. But it's like, imagine if you got off to like a really hot start in a game.
Well, I think, like, and I was talking about this with Coach last week, the fact that, like, for these first, like, I would say for the first month of the season, every team is just trying to figure out their opponents. Like, there's only 13 teams in the league. You're only facing 12 other teams. I mean, other than the fact that they scheduled all the New York games for the end of the season, you're seeing most of the teams. Yeah, we went into a whole rant about that yesterday. But you're seeing most of the teams in the first month, and so you can like scout and be better. So like for me, it makes sense that this is the pattern for Minnesota right now, because they're still learning what all of these teams are like going to play on them, how the defense is going to come, how, what they're planning for offense. And then in the second half, they're able to adjust. And I think that just shows the brilliance of Cheryl Reeves' mind, because, instead of taking that time, like stepping away from that game and being like, okay, this is the scout for the next game. She's already thinking about, okay, this is what they gave us in the first half. Let's already change that for the second half. So she's just like expediting that process that I was talking about with Coach last week of like being able to play all these teams and then plan better for them the second time you play them, but they're just doing it in one game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that, and definitely that's like the benefit you get from a coach that has a lot of experience and a lot of longevity in this league. Like, she's been around, she's done this many, many times, and so like this process is not new to her when there's a lot of teams in this league that is the case for. And I mean, I'm looking here, and if you look at our list on Her Hoop Stats of the top players in win share in the league right now, the top bench player in the league as far as win share is Jess Shepard from Minnesota, and she comes in at 20th. She's already got 0.8 win shares, and so that's, you know, they've got 8 wins. She's at 0.8. That's 10% of Minnesota's win responsibility, and that's on a team where and that's on a team where Nafisa Collier is leading the league at 1.8. Like, that's crazy. So I'm super impressed with like just what Minnesota has put together. But there's so many bench players right now that are doing so well. Like, the next player on the list right now that comes off the bench is actually the other player that I mentioned to you before we started recording, which is Erica Wheeler in Seattle. Like, she's coming in at 23rd. She also is at 0.8. I gotta say, when I saw her signed in Seattle, I was like, okay, sure, yeah, she's gonna sign somewhere.
She's having a career season.
I didn't know if she was even gonna make the final roster. Like, and that's no shade, but like,
no,
she had a very up and down season last year. I think that especially like the situation she was in is a really hard one to adjust to.
Yeah,
and she has clearly shown what she's capable of. Like, I mean, you can't go through a broadcast without hearing that she's the only undrafted player ever to be an All-Star Game MVP. Like, and that, you know, 2019 is not that long ago. So she still has plenty in the bag, but like what she's doing in Seattle is far beyond what I ever would have anticipated over the course of the season, but let alone to start out. Like, she just has been kind of the perfect piece to come in with them. Like, she knows what it's like to play alongside other elite players. Like, she knows her role so well. She works great with, you know, Skylar. She could take the ball off of her hands some. She's ready for the passes. She is looking for the bigs. Like, I don't know if I've been more surprised by a player this year than Erica Wheeler.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because like the first like little bit of the season, people were like, oh, like Erica Wheeler, like, and again, no shade to this, it wasn't me saying this, but like, you know, that was just the vibe online. And then she starts having these like big moments in games, coming in and like changing the game for Seattle, like just playing that like prime sixth woman kind of role.
Yeah.
And then you kind of see the tide start changing of people's, they're like, oh, Erica Wheeler career season, ? Like, just like, and especially with people who haven't necessarily been around since 2019, like in this community, seeing a player like that who like maybe hasn't had the best season the last few years and then being able to like come up, I mean, that's incredible, especially like later in your career too. Like, it's nice to have these things where you're like, okay, like, yeah, like I'm a talented player, and like no matter, you know, what happened last year, what the situation was, being able to come in and immediately make an impact makes you so valuable in this league, and so valuable, you know, in a league where people get cut literally every day. You know, it's not just before the season starts. Literally every day we're seeing people get cut and rosters kind of get shifted a little bit as teams figure out what they want to do. And so like making yourself valuable like that is so key. And just like, I mean, her longevity is just going to increase, especially as more spots open up next year in the league as well. So I mean, it's just fun to see, and she's a fun player to watch. She's one of those players that is very active and has a lot of energy. And I mean, that's what you want from a sixth person, to come on and just like bring that energy and be able to make those big plays and big moments. So it's just like fun. Like, I'm like, this is like one of those parts of the game that just is fun when you see people succeed like that.
Well, she goes to the rim last night and she goes up, she finishes a shot, gets fouled, gets the and one, and she's like running through after because it didn't quite have her balance. She like runs into the stanchion under the hoop and is right in front of the WNBA logo and like kind of catches herself there. And like you see a second where she's like, yeah, and then she like headbutts right on top of the WNBA logo.
Yeah.
And the broadcast was just like loving it. They're like, has a little moment with the WNBA logo. Like,
Yeah.
it's just her, she's just so intense and like, she just plays so hard and
Yeah.
it really
And
makes it so fun to watch.
Yeah, she gets like roughhoused out there too. Like, she, in their game against Vegas, the most previous one, she was all over everywhere, just like getting tossed everywhere. And it's because she's such a dynamic player that she tries to get into all of those plays in those moments. She's not afraid to like sacrifice herself to like try and get the ball. And like, obviously sometimes that means she hits the deck, but like, it's yeah, it's just seeing her get banged up and then just be able to like come right back and not let it affect her. I mean, I'm sure the ice bath sees her after the game, but it's again like just so entertaining to watch. And yeah, she's just one of those impact players where she's really just making another like a different spot for herself in the league, because obviously like as you grow, like as you age naturally, you're gonna like be different, like your role is gonna be different. And so her being able to like keep herself a good spot in the league is really key.
And I mean, especially that's someone who got into the league a couple years after she graduated from college. Like she did kind of the overseas thing. She waited for her turn and then she made a really good name for herself. And, we talk about Seattle, like this is a team that desperately needs those contributors because they have some really great experienced consistent pieces, but they've also had some really tough luck as far as their contracts and their injuries go. Like with Katie Lou getting hurt right before the season, that's a roster spot that you essentially can't fill because of the cap hit. And so the people you have need to be in a position to step up, and you have Zai Cook who's given them some good minutes but just kind of works in at certain times. Lexi Brown's kind of been up and down. We know that she was out for so much of last year, and so it seems like she's still kind of adjusting there. But to have Erica Wheeler coming in and being like, nope, I got you. Like I will be your guard off the bench. I will be ready to take on whatever position you need me in. 1, 2, 3. Like I am here for it. I am going to bring that level of intensity. I'm going to bring the offense. I'm going to bring the defense. Like it's a big reason why Seattle has been able to do what they have so far, even with the fact that, Ezzy Magmagor's struggling a little bit to start the year. They've just had some pieces that are still figuring out how they fit together. And
well, yeah, I think like their plan for the season was very likely to have Jordan Horston play a bigger role.
Oh,
yeah, and then Nika Mule was likely probably going to get a few more minutes off the bench, like developing herself as that very defensive-minded guard that like we know from UConn, and then losing both of them and just being like, okay, like our development plans for this season are kind of gone. They're both suspended contracts now. They hold their rights. And also, side note, seeing their little adventures off of the court together, like, it's so fun. They seem like they were like really bonding, which I love. It's like, I'm sure it's really nice, like when you're going through a really difficult recovery process, to have someone who's like kind of on the same timeline as you and you're kind of going through it. But anyway, those were their plans for this season. Like Nika Mule was supposed to be able to come on and like hopefully develop behind Skylar a little bit more. Jordan Horston has just been getting better and better and better, and was probably going to have such a big role this season, being able to come in and like be that impact player. And then you lose both of them, so then you have to bring in someone like Erica Wheeler. And the fact that it's working out like that so far for them is just like is great, considering the fact that they had to shift their plans during the off season.
Yeah, that's definitely a really good point. And part of, I think, what they're figuring out right now is sort of the post situation. Obviously, I mean, Nneka Ogwumike is going to get a lot of your minutes. Ezzy Magmagor, they're going to get her kind of back into her form. Like, she is such a tremendous player. She's going to contribute in such a big way. She is contributing in a big way, but they definitely will be able to get, I think, a little bit more from her. But then there's a player that's kind of found herself on the outside of the rotation a little bit, who I know that I was super high on in preseason, had some really great minutes, and that's Leite. And now we're seeing these reports that it's unconfirmed, but rumored that she is requesting a trade out of Seattle. And so when I saw that, immediately I had people on my timeline. I mean, every team was clamoring for her, but the one that I saw first and maybe most often was the Aces. And yeah.
We all know how I feel about that if you've been watching every day.
Well, yeah. Let's get into that a little bit, because the Aces, Asia needs some help. Okay? Mm-hmm. Asia needs some help at the post. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about it. Like, imagine having a true five that is not a total project, but definitely has some development to do, has the ability to contribute now, but also it feels like the ability to unlock several additional levels to her game, because she's so young, and she has so much like to her yet. I just, man, I would like to see that, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when you think about what they have going now, Kia Stokes is averaging 1.5 points per game in 6 games, and all of those points are in the last 2 games, because it took her 5 games to score a single point. And like, okay, I feel like I keep hammering on this point, and I just want to be clear, like, no hate to Kia Stokes personally. We're just talking about game here. Like, you know, I hate like criticizing players so much, but like, girl.
Well, it's also about the position you put someone in. Like, she is much more of a defensive player, and so she's someone that, like, okay, you bring her off the bench when you really need someone to play defense. That'd be a great role for her. Starting 5,
there you go.
Maybe not as much.
Maybe not, because then you have A'ja Wilson, who's already taking on the offensive load on this team, and it's 6 games in. Poor thing last week was already like, oh, I wasn't feeling well today, like, whatever. How are you burning out your best all-star, a future Hall of Fame, best player in the league 6 games in because she doesn't have any help in the post? And then your only true backup is a rookie, which, like, don't get me wrong. Again, I say this every time. Liz Kitley is going to be a very great WNBA player, but she's a rookie. Like, you can't, like, if you have championship aspirations, unless you're a player, you know, like a generational Caitlin Clark or whatever, you can't put, like, the championship hopes on a rookie. So, like, then I'm like, what are you doing when you have your starting 5? One of your players isn't, like, bringing anything to the offense. And sure, I get that her defense is important. But then you also have the fact that Jewell Loyd hasn't been playing to, you know, the level that they were hoping. Then you have the fact that, like, A'ja Wilson has to score like 30 points a night in order for them to be competitive. And I'm like, this isn't sustainable. Like, what are we doing here?
Part of it too is that Meg Gustafson's hurt, and so that's like the piece of your interior rotation that you're missing, because I mean, I think the intention was, okay, we can have Liz and we can toss her out there maybe if we really need to, or like when she's doing well or in a good matchup. But I think it was mostly like, we'll keep developing her for the future. But now it's like, that's sort of your option.
That's your backup.
Inside, like, you've got Crystal Bradford as your backup 4, sort of, and she can come in and move A'ja to the 5, and otherwise you've got Liz. Like, there's just the interior rotation for the Aces right now is simply not working. And so I don't know exactly what a deal would look like to get Lee over there, but even if, I mean, at this point, like, you're very solidly in win now mode. Like, that is the Aces. Like, that everyone is kind of acting that way for a lot of teams. But that's for sure the case for the Aces. And so, if you're trading Liz Kitley for Leite, I'd take that, personally.
Yeah.
Like,
because then you also have Seattle, who has a very young core as well. Like, a young, not a young core. Yeah, like not a young core, but like they have this young next generation coming up where you kind of have Dominique Malonga, you have Ezzy Magbagor, you have Jordan Horston, like all of these players you can list that are going to be, hopefully they're developing for their next like era whenever people move on. And then you think about the fact that everybody's a free agent this year coming up, and so teams aren't going to look the same. The Aces definitely probably won't look the same, just given the amount of like movement and stuff that we've seen throughout the past few years. And I don't know, like we're in an era where these teams like the Aces, Liberty, Lynx, whatever, if you are in like that somewhat tier, Seattle even, you're in win now. Like you are trying to win now because you have no idea what your roster is going to look like coming into next season. So, I mean, it's just like, I don't know, like I just don't understand how they can look at their roster and be like, oh yeah, like Asia can do it all. Like she can, but also why are you making her?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like an ideal situation. Like, and also as we said, you know, there's injury considerations, there's stuff like that, and so
Yeah.
it's not like it's all this was exactly the plan. And wow, it's shocking that it's not working. Like they were expecting some different pieces to be available, primarily having Meg Gustafson available because she's obviously a very different kind of player. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of teams that I think could really use Leroux and certainly should be exploring that option if it's out there. I also mentioned on Monday that it feels like a year where we saw more in-season movement last year than we have in the past in the WNBA, and then it feels like that should be even more so the case this year because you have almost everyone on single year contracts. And so there's a lot fewer, like there's not as many long-term implications as there usually are. And so it should be easier to make those kind of shifts in season. And it's like, okay, if something isn't working, if a piece on your team isn't working, or if everything overall isn't working, like there's no reason not to try and shake things up, especially if you have people that aren't on their rookie scale. And so it's really easy just to deal them and say, well, they were going to be gone after this year anyway. But I don't know. It'll be very interesting because then you also have to factor in, okay, there's still the people on the rookie scale contracts where I always think they should be prioritized really highly at this point in the WNBA. And I keep being proven wrong by the way teams are approaching their roster construction. And so that's, who knows what the approach is there. But like, I mean, because the one other player that I wanted to mention as far as like bench players go is Louisa Geisel-Suter in Dallas is starting to bump her minutes up. And okay, so first I was debating whether to even mention this, and I was not gonna, but now I am. I saw a bunch of people like last night when Louisa had some really great minutes, like she's been buried on the bench, like this is malpractice. How have you had her just sitting there not playing? It's like she's been in the US for like 10 days.
Yeah.
Like
after playing a whole Europe season, mind you.
Right. It's like, yeah, no, she's showing some really good minutes because she's getting established and she's understanding. Like she said in an interview right when she came over that like it was a lot really fast. And so it's not crazy to have to work someone in and to, like, for instance, the last time they played Seattle, she literally was cleared to play that day, and she wasn't cleared by the time they had shoot around. So she hadn't even participated in shoot around, so she didn't play that day because if you haven't practiced with a team and you haven't even done a shoot around with a team, you shouldn't be playing.
No.
Like, I mean, frankly, this is a completely, like a tangent, but Megan McConnell was signed that day and then got hurt at the end of the game. Like, I'm not saying those are for sure related, but, like, it doesn't help anything. Like, you should be able to work these players in, and they should be able to practice with you. That's why you and I have had the same thought of have these development spots. So I'm not going to go back to that, but there's evidence. There's supporting factors out there. But anyway, Louisa Geisel-Suter, she's getting her feet under her. She's getting acclimated, and she had a stretch of incredible defense on Nneka Ogwumike at the end of the first half. She knocks down a 3 going into halftime. Like, I am really high on her. Unfortunately, she's going over to EuroBasket, so she'll be departing here pretty quickly. But when she
10 days
back,
in the U.S., right back.
she will definitely be someone that I think is able to figure some stuff out this year, and then she will be a very, very big contributor going forward, especially when you have a player like Paige Beckers in Dallas that will be back next year as a rookie scale contract. Like, those are a couple pieces you could definitely build around.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, she's going to get more minutes and stuff when you're facing injuries. Like Paige Beckers was out last night with that concussion, and I mean, hopefully she'll be back. They said at least 2 games, so I'm sure we'll get an update before they play again. But yeah, just being able to come in and like, yeah, going back to the people saying like malpractice or whatever, like imagine you as like a normal, like I couldn't even imagine traveling that much and then having to play a sport like basketball. And I get they're in peak form, like don't get me wrong, I'm not in peak form, they're in peak form, but like it's exhausting on your body and like on your mind. And like I feel like people need to like do a simple Google search to figure out how long she's been playing in a row before they start saying malpractice because she's not playing enough for the Dallas Wings. The 1-6 or 1-7 now or whatever Dallas Wings. Like, come on.
Like, is she gonna? Well, that's the thing. Is she gonna be the difference in a game when she doesn't know the system yet and when she's not familiar with her teammates? No, I'm sorry.
No.
Like, there's times where you have to play to figure stuff out. This isn't one of them. Like, you need to allow her time to figure out the system. Like, it is really discouraging if you come in and they start playing you too much too soon and you don't know what you're doing, and it frustrates your teammates, it frustrates you. You're also in the US playing as a German. So, I mean, Germans generally are extremely like multilingual. Like I speak, I'm not fluent anymore. I speak German, but like I know the Germans I know, like English is second nature for a lot of them, but it's not your first language. So you're doing all of this in your like non-native language too.
Yeah.
It's like she's 25 years old. Like, give her a second to breathe. Give her a second to settle in. And then you see those great results that she had for a stretch there against Seattle. And that doesn't happen the first day that you're in the country. So anyway, not to give too much oxygen to that, but like what she's doing now is really encouraging and really impressive. And I'm excited to see what she can do when she returns from EuroBasket. I don't know when she's departing, probably fairly soon. But when she comes back, I'll be really excited to see. It'll probably be a little bit because I think that Germany's usually pretty solid. So she'll probably be over there for a while. But
and I mean,
the team's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, and I don't think Satu or Niar are going over.
I know Satu isn't. I hadn't seen anything on Niar, but like she had been hurt. So at this point,
and Leonie Fibish isn't going over, I'm assuming.
It's a really good question.
It's a good question. I don't know. Yeah, we've seen different players announce.
We'll have Richard fact checking this. Yeah, and, like posting on.
We'll retweet. Yeah, we'll post Richard's determination of that. But yeah, even so, like Germany is so deep when it comes to basketball talent that they'll definitely go far in that. But yeah, I mean, it could be depending on how soon she comes back before All-Star break, and again acclimation and all of that. Like we might not get that very many games of her again before All-Star break. But I mean, that's just the nature.
She is going to EuroBasket.
She is. Oh, dang, that's a big loss for New York. Dang. Anyways, we were talking about Fibish yesterday on the pod, so check that out if you want me to, talk about how much I enjoy her as a player. But anyway, that's big for New York. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know. We could go into the whole like discourse of women's basketball online, whatever, but that would be a waste of our breath. Let's not do that. Let's not. Let's continue the good vibes over here.
I can continue that offline.
Yeah, literally. We do anyway, honestly. Like, you should see our text chain. It's mostly just me saying go state whenever anything happens. I'm like, go state. I've been indoctrinated.
I can't wait to get you set right once I eventually get all the packages I have to mailed out.
Right? I mean, yeah, I've been brought in by the Steyer family as a Iowa State truther. So yeah, we're gonna cheer for to go state over here.
Love it.
Oh,
Love
man,
it.
yeah,
All
love it.
right, Chelsea, we've done our yapping. We've done a reasonable amount of yapping for the two of us, I think.
I know, yeah, we could go on, but people got
We
things to
certainly
do.
could, but I feel like we've hit a good portion. And
Yeah.
there's nothing to preview since it's Wednesday and there's no games tonight.
And yeah, and I'll be back. If people get me 3 days in a row, I'll be back tomorrow.
Love that.
Woo! Which is
Love
great.
that.
Yeah,
I'll be
love
back
it.
Friday. I've got
Yeah.
Brittany Carper coming on Friday.
Yep.
And I know tomorrow you've got
Coach.
Coach.
We
Awesome.
love it. Yeah, we're gonna get into some fun stuff. I love picking her brain. I'm always like, so what would you do in this situation? And she's probably like,
love it.
yeah,
I love
it's
having
fun.
like multiple people with coaching experience and stuff. Like, obviously, I love you. I love Tyler. Like, we have great fun conversations too. But like the amount of time I spend talking to my mom about basketball, it feels like a continuation of that on here when I'm with Brittany.
Coach Jody, we love her. I follow her on Instagram. It's a great time. I love her.
She had her little post celebrating getting to continue to follow her Cyclones over the summer with DC and with Tyrese Halliburton. Like she has me and my brother, but she has so many little Cyclone family kids spread out all over. It's amazing. I love it. I love it. All right, well, folks, you can find us on social media at Chelsea Leite and at JSteyz, JSTEYZ. Chelsea will be back tomorrow with Coach. I will be here Friday with Brittany, and as usual, we will be back every day of the week. Subscribe, follow, review. Find us.
Google review.
Fact checking. Yeah,
Yelp.
Absolutely. We'll be here for Who's That's Podcast.
Letterboxd.
I don't think so. All right.
Okay, we need to cut this.
Cut the cameras. That's it. Thanks, guys.